Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We've already introduced the panel, so I think we're going to go straight into things. So to start with, we have with us, of course, Alex, the founder of Chiliz, which is really reshaping fan engagement in the sports sector and pioneering the use of Web3 in sports. So I guess, Alex, maybe to get us started, can you tell us a little bit about Chiliz?
Let's do a little bit of self-promotion. Chiliz is a 5-year-old company based in Europe that for the last 5 years has created the concept of fan tokens. I don't know how many soccer or football fans are here, or UFC, or Formula One, or rugby, or esports, or tennis, or anything, but we've been very lucky to work with more than 100 sports teams and properties all over the world, and with a very simple and naive idea that 99% of sports fans are not in the stadium, not in the city, not even in the country of the team they are supporting. And so we created these tokens in order to help fans all over the world to have more say, to have more recognition towards their team. And we've done that using blockchain by creating these tokens on a layer 1 blockchain called Chiliz, and by having a consumer-facing app that has now 2 million users called socios.com.
So, obviously, the big thing really is the fan tokens coming off socio.com. We're seeing more and more clubs embracing these fan tokens. We're starting to see regulatory frameworks being introduced. We're seeing the adoption is really growing in this area. Can you tell us a little bit more about what these fan tokens are and why they're becoming so popular?
Interestingly, actually, in the UK, in the regulation of the UK, in the commission or the committees, etc., fan tokens are really part of the regulation framework, which is cool, and it sees as they call that investment utility token. The idea again is to give a voice. It's to give a voice to help fans to become, or to come from a passive fan to an active fan. And that bridge that we've built is using the token almost like as a loyalty program or a membership program that you as a fan can vote on decision of the club. One of the things we've done, for example, last week, there is one of the biggest Turkish team that asked their fans, which number do you want that new player that we've signed to have on his jersey? It's a small thing, but it's huge. So you as a fan anywhere in the world, you can be the one who chose not Messi, not Alessandro, but you can choose Pepe, I think is his name, jersey. We do a lot of small things like this, and we've done that for the last 5 years successfully. And what's really interesting is really the fact that the fans that wants to engage with what we do are the international fans. They are not the so-called domestic/legacy fans. They are really the international fan base. And that's where we think, as a company, we can bring value to both fans and teams.
And I think I read somewhere 2022, 2023, you had 25,000 holders of fan tokens who got merchandise, VIP experiences, tickets.
Probably a bit more, but definitely the amount of people that got real life or real world here, we call that, benefits, it's like 25, 30,000, even more, for sure.
So we've talked about football already, so I guess we need to introduce Alessandro. Not that he needs any introduction, but I think I've heard some wonderful stories about you and how you were a fan long before you were a player. So can you tell us a little bit about what it meant to you being a fan and then becoming a player, and how that has shaped your interaction with fans?
Well, it's for me it's quite simple because I lived that experience, right? But of course you start to look at the football career because you have a passion for the game, and the passion of the game is moving everything. For me, it was football. For other people, it's different jobs or different sports or whatever it is. Passion drives you to do more and more. And as a football fan, my experience was completely different than the football fan has now in these days, because on my time when I was a kid, we didn't have social media, we didn't have so much TV, so every single inches of that something was right on the newspaper, or some few images that you have on TV during the Sunday games, that was huge. So I was following every single thing about my team, and this is how you start to follow football. I started to follow football, and after that, more and more and more, and I saw all this transformation now that, back in time when I start playing football and professional, people were asking for autograph. And then phones came out. So everybody has a camera now. So it's not only, not a lot of people asking for autographs, to be honest, a lot of people asking for a picture. And then now with all the technology they're moving forward, including the one that we are here with Chiliz, it brings you to another level. And this level is a connection between fans and football players. So when I was a football player, I was really taking care about small things, because if you have a chance to spend one more minute with people that are here to support, were there to support you, or to give you some kind of gift, or ask you for something little one, it's a plus from my point of view. It's an exchange of energy. It's a connection between you and your fans, because at the end of the day you perform on the pitch, and we had a big experience during COVID. Without fans, it's not the same thing. It's completely different. You don't feel even it's real what's happening. So I didn't play without fans, to be honest, but looking on TV was enough for me. And I was speaking with a lot of friends of mine that were still playing, and say, well, I don't know, it's good, because when you talk on the field, you know everything, you can help your teammates, but also the opponents hear what you're saying. So it's without fans, it's not the same thing. So it's a connection between fans and football players in this world is massive, and is very important.
I read somewhere that when you were first starting out, that you would receive a lot of letters, because as you say, technology has changed.
Yeah.
In those days it was letters, and that you would respond, handwritten letters, back to the fans that were writing to you. So firstly, is that true? And secondly, what do you think would be the equivalent today, I guess?
Well, yeah, at the beginning it was fun. You receive a letter from somebody that you didn't even know, and tell you a nice story, give you compliments, this and that. So for me and my parents, it was a big deal. So with the help of my father, especially, and my mother, of course, but we spent some time answering every single letter that I received, because at that time the only way to communicate is by letters. So with some of them we send back autograph, we send picture with autograph, so some other stuff. And then, thanks God, because things went in a very good way for me from really at the beginning, the number of letters became huge. So at that point, we didn't have enough time to do that. But I still have some papers where we sign the name of the people that we reply and the address, because we want to reply as much person as possible, right? But if that person writes you 3, 4, 5 times in a month, you don't want to. It was good that you answer to other people, right? So my father was writing every single. I remember people names, fans names, and that's his. I don't think my kids now. I have 3 kids. They can't even understand that, because things change a lot. But it's a really cool story that I keep in my heart.
I think you should revisit that list and just pick someone and randomly
show
up at their house.
Good one.
Not bad. Michele. So Michele is with Serie. So Serie, you were the very first league to partner with Socios.com. So what made you partner with them? What were you trying to achieve, and how has that panned out for you?
Yeah, James. First of all, I was wondering, I'm the only guy at Token2049 with a tie.
That's true.
And that's so Italian and everything. But the key point is that at the time of Alessandro, at the time of a lot of players, Serie used to be the best league ever. Then we had a little bit of issues from 2010 till 2017. Last year was a great year. We had the Inter in the final of Champions League, Roma in the final of Europa League, and Fiorentina in the final of the Conference League. That put Serie A back on the map in the way we want to be. But more importantly, especially in an event like Token2049, why we are here. Because football, yes, talks to 2.3 billion fans in all over the world, but it could be the way to embrace and generate awareness to new technologies, as well as what Alex Dreyfus and the guys at Chiliz and the Socios.com are doing. So I think there is a role of us, rights holder, clubs, leagues, to really embrace what the fans are looking for in order to become, as Alex said, active fan from passive fan. And the only way to do that is to open our mind and really make things happen and not only talk. So I don't know if we have a video content that can show exactly what we have been doing in Serie A games since January last year.
So maybe we can show that video of the own the ball.
Yeah, that
own
makes
the
sense
moment.
because
Can
the
we
audience
have that
can really
video?
see what's happening.
Yep.
And the real thing is that now in the big games of Serie A and even in the big games of the Cups, the actual ball that scores the goal is collected by the referee, goes inside a special box, and the fan, only the fan who has social.com tokens can have that goal at home. So going back to the days of Alessandro, I would love to have your goal against Fiorentina, man. That was amazing, but I really don't know where that ball is today. But thanks to the technology now, and thanks to token, and thanks to the blockchain that certificates that that is the real goal scored in that game from that player, that makes sense. And that's what fans are looking for from the big games. We have a derby next Saturday, guys. I know that you are all at Formula One, but there is AC Milan-Inter. It's a huge game next Saturday, and we will do with social.com exactly this.
So that's interesting because you talked about how it is powered by blockchain, and sports memorabilia is a multi-million-dollar industry, but an industry where there are a lot of forgeries out there, right? So I mean, Alex, how is your blockchain based authentication helping to impact that?
So for those who looked at the video and listened to Michele, just to make sure, every time there is a match right now, almost every time there is a match at Serie, you as a fan token holder of Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juventus, Roma, Napoli, or any of the teams we are working with, you can now have access to, you can win, because you don't even have to buy. You can win the original ball that scored the goal. That's literally your first thing, and we've done that for the first time in Saudi Arabia, 18th of January, I believe, or something like that.
It was that, yeah.
And it was the first time in the world. And it was really cool. And now we scale that on the ball with Serie, and if once you receive the ball at home, there is a NFC/NFT chip connected to the Chiliz blockchain. You put your phone on the ball, you're gonna see all the metadata that is stored in the blockchain that tells you that that ball was used that day, it was scored with this player, etc., etc.
And going back to the point, Alex, the real thing is that we have seen this rise of NFTs in the football, especially 2 years ago, in the moment of the real boom. What we see now is that the fan wants something that is phygital, something that is real, and something that is even certified on the blockchain. Same as for the good old Panini stickers, is where we are going in terms of giving the fan the possibility to be part of the game.
And so to complete what we've done with the balls, we've invested in February, I believe, in a company called MatchWornShirt.com. It's a Dutch company, and these guys for the last 5 years, they've done that every time there is a Paris Saint-Germain or AC Milan match, at the end of the match, the players take their jersey off, the company is taking it, they're doing an auction on their website, but now you're going to be able not only to buy it as a discount or auction it at the discount with your fan token, but most importantly, once you receive the jersey at home, the certificate of authentication you get is not anymore like a paper that I can forge. It's an NFC chip you get on the jersey. When you put your phone on it, it goes to the blockchain and it's going to read the metadata of that jersey. So you know that the jersey that you have, you put to your friends, you show it to your family, whatever, is the real jersey that was worn on that match. So blockchain is not just about trading and speculation. It's also sometimes about use case that are real and that can be scaled. And for Chiliz, as a blockchain, originally we are the fan token company, but now we are going more and more into more use cases that are outside just about the ownership of the fan token.
I was telling Alex last night, every time he plugs MatchWornShirt.com, I get worried, because I think I'm currently the biggest user on there, and the competition is going to get stiffer if you keep saying this on stage.
Actually, yesterday I didn't believe him, of course, at first, so he actually showed me on his Gmail.
My
there
email
was literally
inbox.
hundreds of emails of MatchWornShirt. So I'm very happy we invested.
So Alessandro, we talked about earlier about the fan experience, right, and the opportunity to get an autograph or to get a picture. I mean, what would it have meant to you as a fan, and what do you think it means to the fans to actually have that ball in their hands and be able to see the goal that was scored, whether it was the Fiorentina game, right?
1994.
I mean, who has that ball?
That one, no.
No?
I have other ones, but
Okay. What do you think it means to a fan to have that opportunity? What would it have meant to a young
it means everything.
Alessandro?
I mean, as a football player, when I was winning different things, I mean, and I'm still going on to keep, that jersey or that pair of boots for that specific games. I mean, I went to the work. I'm sorry. We're talking about World Cup.
I know where you're heading.
But, that World Cup was a living, memorabilia for everybody, including balls when I scored that goal, or the jersey, the complete kit, or my boots. So you hold it, you put it away, and use a new one, because you want something special. You want to keep it safe. You want to keep it in the right way, or you give it to a special people that are close to you. So balls, jerseys, and other kind of stuff like this are very, very important as a fan, but even as a football player. You are stick with that because it represents something for you, that maybe the specific games or specific goal represent something special for you that even is not something that people knows, because everybody lives his life in his way. So with this balance and other stuff. So some things become really, really important, and you want to keep it and save it in a screen and in a locker,
Yeah. So Alex, I mean, the heading of this session here, SportFi and the Web3 future of fandom. So we've talked about own the ball, own the moment. We've talked about fan tokens, they're an important part of the Chiliz project, but really the evolution of Web3 is going to open up a lot more for your company. And you've just launched your own blockchain, the Chiliz chain, and an incubator program. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And really, what is SportFi, I guess?
That's a good question. Now, so for the last 5 years, people know a bit Chiliz, but they don't really know what we do. They know that there are fan tokens, which is not a tech, but rather a product. We realized that we need to market a little bit more what we are doing and to have a category that define what we are doing. And what we are doing is not just us, is other company doing sports NFTs or collectibles like Serie or Dapper Labs or some other things. So we tried since September now to market that around the SportFi. You have GameFi, DeFi, ArtFi, whatever. Now you have SportFi. We as a company, we were the one who brought the fan tokens. Fan tokens are great, but for now the utility of these fan tokens are limited to the work that we are doing with the teams. We think there is a world where the more we open this ecosystem, the more developers are going to develop features for these fan tokens. I'll give you an example. You own AC Milan. I'm not sure who is the sponsor of AC Milan as a...
Emirates.
But the kit. Is it Adidas or Nike?
Adidas.
Okay.
Puma.
Puma now.
That doesn't help me.
Was Adidas.
But so Puma. So you own a AC Milan fan token. You go in a mall here. There is a Puma shop. The idea is eventually I want people to be able to go with their Milan token, go to the cashier, showing with a QR code that is generated every 2 seconds, etc. And you will get a 10% discount at the Puma shop. To achieve that, ironically, the team can almost do nothing. Puma can almost do nothing because every country has a different marketing director, has a different technology for retail and everything. So the more we open our platform, the more we open our technology, the more we're going to allow developers, startups, projects to actually develop features for the fan token holders. And that's really what we're going to spend resources and money actually in the next year or so, is how do we embrace and onboard developers to scale that. One of the cool things we've announced earlier this year, which, well, we haven't done yet because thank you, the bear market, but we're going to create hackathons in stadium. So you're going to, not to have 50,000 people, of course, but to have 100, 500 developers in the middle of the stadium, or at least having a view in the stadium. That's cool. That creates a new narrative about how you can embrace and promote Web3, or I would say for us Web 2.5, because we're kind of more pragmatic. We don't think we are a Web3 company. We are more like a 2.2 to 2.5 at that point. But that's okay. There is actually, Bitcoin can go to zero. There will always be sports fan everywhere in the world, and there will always be sports team. So as long as we continue to develop collectively, especially on a chain that is dedicated to that, we're going to be fine.
Michele, so building on that, what do you see next for Serie A in terms of other use cases, how blockchain may evolve, how you may approach fan engagement from a tech point of view?
So James, again, the key point is that us as a rights holder, we need to change the approach. Yeah. So the idea of the balls itself is doing something that was never done before, because it actually is stopping the game. So you have more 5 to 15 seconds, which is the time the referee collects the balls and gives the balls back to the delegate that is putting that in the box for the blockchain. The future is that we should be open, finally, to discuss internally between clubs, leagues, and federations that we need to give more to the fans and not only wait for money to come from the sky. And as a league and as Serie A, the reshuffle strategy that we are doing right now goes back to what I was saying before, that in the past we were too much focused on the domestic market, looking only at Italy and not looking abroad. If we go, if we double check the data, the recent data that we have is more than 540 million fans of Serie A all over the world. That's why Alessandro is so loved when we come here in Asia or when we go to the US. But Italy is only 33 million fans out of a population of 58 million. So what we are doing right now, we have an office in New York, we have an office in Abu Dhabi, we're going to probably open here in Singapore in the next year, 6 months to 1 year to cover the Asia Pacific. But we should find a different angle to speak about Serie A. And what you are going to see already from the derby next Saturday is that the brand of Serie A will be called Serie A Made in Italy, because the only way to position it, Serie A, in a different way than the great job the Premier League is doing, La Liga or the Bundesliga or the Liga 1, is the country itself. So everything that Serie A will do from today onwards will always tap in food, fashion, art, everything that differentiates Italy and makes Italy so loved in all over the world. And that's where Calcio can absolutely embrace this vision, along with the Italian government, to really speak about Italy all over the world, thanks to Calcio and thanks to legends like Alessandro that has written our history, and especially thanks to the great players that we now retain in Serie A. Because you think that Leao is in AC Milan, Lautaro at Inter, Dybala and Lukaku at Roma Football Club, Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia at Napoli, in a summer where we have seen a lot of players going somewhere else. The big guys are in our league, and that's where we should push and work for the better future.
So Alex, Michele talked about Asia, you talked about Asia earlier. I know you were up in Korea recently as well. You know, obviously Asia is a huge market for sports, it's a huge market for tech. So what role do you think this region will play, and how can people, whether they're startups, investors, developers, how can they get involved?
Fair enough. So emerging markets in general are very supportive of what we are doing. Actually, our first markets from a consumer point of view are Turkey and Brazil. We have like 500,000 users in Turkey, 400,000 in Brazil. And Korea and Japan are countries where, unlike Turkey and Brazil, the domestic football is not as big. So they rely way more on Premier League, Serie A, and few other leagues, and therefore their relationship with the teams, with the brand that the team represents, is different and is very powerful. We think that, and it's interesting because in Korea we have a lot of Chiliz token holders, we have a lot of trading volume, just to talk a little bit about crypto because we are in the TOKEN2049, something that people don't realize, that fan tokens as of today in a bear market, the trading volume of fan tokens is 10 times the volume of NFTs. Today was way more, of course, during the bull market, but that's something you need to keep in mind. $100 million a day of fan tokens are traded right now, while NFTs, not sports NFTs, every NFTs, it's 8 to 10 million every day. And the reason I'm saying that is because in Japan, in Korea, where fan tokens are listed, for example, in Korea, there is an appetite to engage with a brand differently. The reason 5 years ago we started what we are doing is I have a 5-year-old kid that will never touch cash, will never buy Exxon stocks. He will probably make me broke because of Roblox. And this generation of kids, or 15 years old of today, there is a reason that Tesla is the first market cap in the world. It's not because of cars. It's because the relationship you have with the brand and with the CEO of the owner. And so you can expect that in the next 10 to 20 years, people will invest not necessarily in a financial way, but at least in a commitment, in the way that's how you embrace a community, a brand. Tesla is a community. You can expect that in the next 10, 20 years, people will put money where their mouth is, and sports is literally the first category where it happens. And so the next generation of fans will not buy shares of Manchester United or Juventus. You actually can buy, if you're a Juventus fan today, you actually can buy shares of Juventus. What right does it give you? Nothing. Just voting at the General Assembly every year for the accounts. If you own a fan token of Juventus today, you actually can vote on the music in the stadium, vote on the design of the jersey, so things that matters most for you. So we think, naively, that in the next 5, 10, 15 years, money will flow from fans not because they're naive, just because they want to support the IP, the brand, and the community they're part of.
So I've got to give the last word to Alessandro here. I'm going to ask you, because we had own the ball, own the moment. We've been talking about these match balls. I want you to give me 2 balls. One, a goal scored by you that would be the best goal you've scored that you want to own the ball for. And secondly, a goal scored by a different player somewhere in history that you wish that you could own that ball. Tell us about your favorite goals.
Good one.
Only 2.
Only 2. One for you, one for someone else.
Says the guy who has hundreds of goals.
There's many goals, that, as I told you before, means something. The first goal that I scored in professional football wasn't with Juventus, was with Padova. The first goal with Juventus when I scored the penalties in the final against France. So the semi-finals against Germany before was a special goals in huge tournament. Definitely are goals that some of them are beautiful. Michele talked about the one against Fiorentina, because that is definitely the most beautiful goal that I've scored from my point of view. But then the other ones that are even not great, but means something.
Yep.
So, and the second part, the goals, the ball that I want to have, I'm thinking maybe the guys that I was dreaming, that I don't even see that much playing, like Pelé or Maradona. And when Pelé scored 1,000 goals, well, that means a lot.
Maradona, 1986.
Oh, Maradona, yeah,
the
when
ball,
he scored with the hand.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
not that
one.
Not that one. The other one.
Yeah, because
I'm still bitter
the
about
other
that one. Okay.
both. It's the same ball,
Yeah, they didn't come and take it off the pitch and
still
in
that
those
one.
days, Yeah.
There are some iconic goals that you will never forget. Everybody has a different one. That's why this idea with Chiliz is pretty cool, because maybe you get the chance to have that one that you really want.
So I'm going to put the last word back to Alex then. What next?
Well, after 2 weeks on the road, I'd love to go home. What's next for us is really about onboarding new. We're going to have actually new big teams coming and joining the ecosystem. We already have 100 plus sports team. We launched 85 fan tokens already, traded everywhere. We are launching a DEX in a few weeks. But the most important part, at least from a sports perspective and a fan perspective, is more the features we want to launch either as socials.com or as developers. So if you have any friends, companies that are developers, that are startups, projects that wants to be onboarded on the Chiliz chain in order to bring value, actually I'm not going to say for once, but to try to bring some real utility in the blockchain space that is not just financial, please reach out to us. We have a booth here, and I believe Alessandro will be there actually for meet and greet at 3:30 or 4 p.m. So please join us there, and we'll be able to talk about the Chiliz chain and all the fan tokens.
So 4 p.m. meet and greet, level 5. You can meet Alessandro.
And
Gentlemen. And of course Alex.
And Alex as well, yeah. But before we leave, James, shall we give a ball to the audience?
We have 3 balls, which we are going to get Alessandro to sign for us here.
Okay.
Your chance to own a ball signed by Alessandro.
Make sure we have the insurance guy here. They don't kill anyone.
We're gonna. Oh, you have it.
This one is better.
We're going to shoot as hard as possible.
Okay.
So it's a
Anybody
bullying.
here a
We're
goalkeeper?
gonna play bullying.
Catch the ball, guys. This is a value.
We're gonna play bullying.
Whoever save it can keep
Okay.
the ball.
First one,
Right.
signed.
Sign. Now I can see a little bit of excitement. Before
yeah.
kind of sleep, you know. Well,
Ball number 1.
I'm gonna put it like
Bridesmaid
this.
style.
Otherwise, I don't want to keep someone.
Don't hit the roof.
Okay. That's
Oh,
one.
good catch. Oh, we have a goalkeeper.
Where's the lucky one? Okay.
Great
Oh,
talent.
we have 2 more.
2 more.
Yeah.
Stand up.
2 more. This one on that way. So we have a
Good catch, guys.
over there. That's good.
I think we found a goalkeeper right there.
Yeah. We play 5-a-side in the afternoon, guys. Who want to join us?
Last
No,
one.
that
Let
you
me
want,
take a picture from here.
I need
It's
to
gonna be
give
cool.
it on the back. On the left side. You pick.
No.
You're going to make him the bad guy. Come
We
on.
had that.
Come on, this is unexpected, but works.
Rebound. Yeah.
That's where it matters. You need to really hold it. It's like you have it's like crypto. You need to have a diamond hand. No paper hand here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for
Thank you
joining
very
us today.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.